Release here, release there, release everywhere. There's been a lot of gacha games releasing, and a lot of gacha games that are currently in their CBT. Now, the thing is that the gacha industry is becoming more competitive each and every single day. And in fact, I'll go as far as to say there's a little bit too much competition. There is too many games in the gacha industry currently, and it's not going to end anytime soon. So strap on, because this is going to be a very, very, very interesting video. Now, we'll start it off with Nexus Anima. Nexus Anima is now on the second day of the first beta testing phase of the game. Now, I have no idea if there's going to be more than one beta test, because as of right now, Nexus Anima has already released their pre-order, pre-sign up, pre-schedule, whatever you want to call it. Their pre-register, there you go. I couldn't even think of the word. The pre-register is now up on the site, the official site for Nexus Anima. Now, with that being said, I've already played Nexus Anima because I told you all in the previous video that I've gotten CBT access. Now, my thoughts on Nexus Anima is as simple and as follows as this. I'll try not to make this too long-winded. Nexus Anima is a game that is looking to combine the mechanics of masterpiece and worldwide phenomenon Pokemon and the other mechanics of notoriously known game by Riot Games Studio, such as TFT. Now, with that being said, Hoyoverse is also looking to add their own twist. I call it a little bit of a open world sauce to the game that they've decided to create based on the Pokemon IP and the TFT IP, Nexus Anima. So there is some open world to go along with the game. You run around, you collect little animas, they call it, which is the game's version of Pokemon, and you take those animas to fight other animas in the world against other players or NPCs, which is notoriously known as Pokemon's gameplay, core gameplay loop, right? And then you have the Nexus Anima TFT side of things, where the gameplay itself is not necessarily turn-based like Pokemon, but instead it is an auto chess battler, much like TFT, Teamfight Tactics, right? Because I kept saying TFT. For those of you that don't know that game. With that being said, I think this game is a pretty big turnoff for a lot of players, and I will be honest here, a few hours into the game, and I still haven't even figured out whether or not the game has any gacha monetization yet. I don't even know what gacha mechanics the game may or may not have. I've been playing the game for hours, and I still do not have access to that yet, so I cannot tell you. I haven't even looked at any gameplay or any other creators that have been playing the game and seeing how far they got into the game. All I know is that there's characters that you can unlock in the game, other NPCs, right? And you can run around with those NPCs, use them as your avatar, and also use those NPCs in battle. So I imagine there probably is some form of gacha monetization. I just have not unlocked yet. Now, those are the facts regarding the game. For me personally, I am not enjoying the game. I am pretty underwhelmed. But I just understand that it's a game not for me. For one, I rather just play the now releasing in a month time frame from here on out in the middle of October, Pokemon Legends ZA, right? Arceus. Not Arceus, Legends ZA. I'd rather just play that game if I'm going to play a game like Pokemon. And if I want to play a auto chess battler, I'm just going to play TFT because that game is also free to play. So who does this game appeal to? I can't really answer that question because I feel like not even Hoyoverse even knows who they're appealing to. Or maybe they do, but I don't understand if that's a reasonable area to target in terms of core audience. We also do have Power World, which has announced its official release in the coming future. So there's that as well for those that are looking for an open world version of a Pokemon game. So then I'm going to ask the question one more time. Who is this game appealing to? I don't know, and I can't really answer that question. So there's my thoughts on Nexus Anima. Personally, I am just looking for this game to have something that, brings me in. The characters look nice, the world looks nice, and the animals look cute. But I can say those same things about Pokemon, and I can say those same things about Power World. Why do I feel like, what I'm trying to say? It's just not there for me. That's just me personally. If you thought it could get any worse, Hoyoverse is hiring artists with experience using generative AI for 2D art for Nexus Anima. That's very self-explanatory. The only thing I can think of is that Hoyoverse is looking to take the Nikkei approach, in which they are going to maybe add AI to their existing game, Honkai Star Rail game, right? AI slowly to the general sprite art of characters in game. But other than that, I don't see the AI becoming a major problem in their pre-existing games. It's only looking to be in their upcoming title, Nexus Anima, Honkai Nexus Anima, and maybe future titles, assuming that the AI art doesn't even make or break the audience, right, and how they feel about the game. Maybe they won't even notice it, depending on how well done it is going to be implemented in Nexus Anima. I think it's honestly a pretty rough thing to get over, because personally, I'm someone who enjoys art and characters, sprites, right, of the characters, the 2D art, 2D sprites of characters in game. So it is a little bit hard for me to get over something like that, because I generally enjoy the art. The art is the most important thing to me about a game. And if that's going to be what it comes down to, I don't really think that's something that I'm going to be able to just accept personally as a player. But, however, it seems like Hoyoverse has been wanting to do this for quite some time now. Apparently, they've been looking to implement this in some way, shape, or form, because they are potentially looking to be the lead in terms of AI generative use for the industry standard going forward. And if Hoyoverse is able to implement this pretty well in their game and no one complains about it, what is stopping other games that are not as popular and successful as any of the Hoyoverse games and studios not as popular as Hoyoverse from doing that in their own game? Now, this is just a wait and see moment, but I will say that the future looks pretty bleak when it comes to generative AI use in gacha games. I'm not looking forward to it, especially considering if their restart is doing it throughout all of their sprites. What is stopping any other game from doing it in the future? On a lighthearted note, Anata, previously known as Project Mugen, will be attending Tokyo Game Show 2025 and showing off unseen gameplay. This is honestly very exciting, considering NetEase has been doing pretty darn well in the free-to-play game industry with the previously released game Marvel Rivals. Now, I expect Anata to be a very nice game and might honestly pioneer the gacha industry standard moving forward. I expect Anata to be that game. Now, whether or not NetEase can live up to that expectations I have personally, which it doesn't even matter at the end of the day, right? Who am I? I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of things. I'm just one player, is yet to be known. Now, I will say the one thing that NetEase definitely does need to work on is not only their engine optimization, right? But also just their, in general, optimization for games in general. Marvel Rivals runs like crap. That's something that can be improved over time, but hopefully Anata doesn't also run like crap. It probably will run like crap on most devices, considering it's going to be one of the most high-end, probably the most high-end gacha game we'll have ever received, ever. It's probably not going to run on most low-end to mid-end like phones, right? Epic 7 reveals the skills and effects of its upcoming frieren collaboration characters. Fern is a water mage, Stark is a fire warrior, and frieren is a grass mage. Stark will be the free character, and his kit is not being received that well, considering that free characters, in terms of collaboration characters, have had a notoriously bad reputation in Epic 7. For the first character that was actually somewhat meta-relevant for a short period of time, Shuna, she has fallen off since then. Shuna, from the time I got reincarnated as a slime. Any other character from a previous collaboration, such as Ram, who was actually pretty useful and still is useful even so to this day, but not as much considering there has been a complete overhaul to the general in-game PvE stages, farming stages in Epic 7. She had her relevance in a specific designated content until now, pretty much. But that's just the free characters. Frieren is looking to be extremely strong because she is a mage character that essentially allows focus and fighting spirit characters that have those gameplay mechanics in their kits be pretty much relevant in the current meta because she enables those characters in that playstyle. She also does come along with her own signature artifact, which is this game's version of signature weapons, and this designated artifact is a power creep version of a notoriously very strong 4-star weapon that a lot of players have collected multiple maxed out copies of over the years. So needless to say that is not very, amusing, right? You're going to have to get multiple copies of this 5-star now power creep version of the previously strong 4-star version. And frieren herself is also a pretty darn good character. So this is going to be a very expensive collaboration for a lot of players. And that's not even taking into consideration Fern, who is looking to be now the fastest character in the game potentially, because she now has a passive that potentially rivals the fastest character Epic 7 has ever released, or the character that Epic 7 has released that allows that character to take turn 1 no matter what. Now Fern might be the character to take turn 1 over that character. Who would have thought we would even come to this point? And it would take frieren out of all collaborations or characters to do this. Yeah, so needless to say that Epic 7 is going to have a time, and its players as well. And this collaboration will release on the 25th of September. Seven Knights Rebirth has officially launched. After digging, I found out that Seven Knights Rebirth is just a re-release version of Seven Knights, hence the rebirth part of the name, right? Now, the developer behind this game is actually Netmarble. Now, Netmarble has deceptively been, it looks like to me, looking to, fix their tarnished name that they've, fostered over the years with not only the upcoming game, Seven Deadly Sins Origin, the previously released game that has done pretty darn well globally, right? The Solo Leveling game Solo Leveling Arise, I believe it is called. And now Seven Knights Rebirth is looking to also capture the once had, glory it had in its heyday amongst the fans. Netmarble is looking to make power moves and like I said before, rebuilt upon their tarnished name. Now, I do believe that their games are actually pretty good. The problem is that the monetization of their games is always iffy, right? There's never been an issue with any Netmarble gameplay games, maybe Ni no Kuni, but that also had its own NFT little BS crap, right? Now, thankfully, none of their other games have had any issues with NFTs, and I think NFT in general has been put to an overall halt in the gacha industry, just in general, right? Because it's been just, as of right now, not used for the purpose it's been meant to use for, and instead it's just been used for just, in general, money, cash grabs, scams, all of that, right? All of the above. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Aura Drive releases on the 25th of September. I don't even know how many JoJo games have released in the recent past. I'll go as far as say JoJo seems to have news in general every single month. Now, it doesn't help that JoJo's does collab with dang near every single IP, it feels like. So they're just bound to have a lot of news just circulating around the IP in general. They also did have the announcement of the Steel Ball run, right? It's now coming to Netflix globally. So they're now doing another season of the anime, right? So yeah, there's just a lot of news surrounding JoJo's. And with this upcoming game, I actually could not find any gameplay. But I don't even know what type of game it is. But just by looking at pictures and descriptions of the game itself, it is in JP. So it's probably going to be a JP locked, JP region exclusive game. So you're going to probably need either a VPN or some way to access the JP App Store, or both of them, right? Now, in terms of gameplay, as I said before, I have no idea what gameplay this game does have. All I know is that it does have some of the same UIs from the old school gacha anime games, right? Such as Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle and Fate Grand Order. But aside from that, I know nothing of the game. It could be a turn-based game. It could be some form of, just like I said, little card animation game like Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle. I just have no idea. Kaiju number 8, the game is finally releasing their long-awaited Steam client weeks into the launch of the game. So there's nothing bad about this, right? This is an overall W, make no mistake. But I just want to preface that the developers behind this game have stated that there would be some form of, or rather they alluded to and marketed that there would be some PC client, whether that was a Steam client, just PC in general, Steam client at the launch of the game. And then when the launch of the game came around, there was no Steam client or no way to download the game on your PC. So instead you had to use an emulator, which sucks, right? No one wants to use an emulator for a game like this that genuinely takes a lot to get running. It is a very hard game to run on your phone, hence why a lot of lower to mid-end devices have been struggling running this. So for them to announce a PC client in terms of the Steam client now is great, right? Because you don't have to play on your phone if you are someone who has a PC and plays games on their PC. As for me personally, I still play on my phone because I do have a higher end phone, so I never had an issue with this. But god dang it, some of these games just need to work on their optimization. I know Honkai Star Rail has better optimization when it comes to mobile games, which is surprising because that game is a pain to run, even on a higher end phone like mine. But yeah, overall W for any Kaiju number 8, the game fans. It's honestly a pretty decent game. They just need to release the Steam client at launch. That's it. Elpis Fallen Star announces global release date on the 26th of September. The description of this upcoming title states, semi-real-time strategy progression RPG, Elpis Fallen Star, a grand adventure for those who brave the abyss. As the leader of an exploration squad, you will face an epic battle against the Demon King. Dive into the world of a semi-real-time strategy RPG. This game uses chibi models for its 2D art, so I'm already not a fan of this game, just me personally. But this game has also not made any strive in terms of marketing. In fact, I'll go as far as say I didn't even know this game even existed until it popped up on my Twitter feed, right? They had a post on their official Twitter page, and that ended up popping up on my For You page. Again, I had no idea this game even existed. So for them to just have a global release a week from now without having any sort of announcement beforehand or any form of marketing beforehand is a little bit concerning to me. And let's not take into consideration with there being so many upcoming games. And it's not even like it being a chibi style art style game is a bad thing, because we have Chaos Zero Nightmare, which is releasing in the immediate future, that also does have chibi art for its characters. So it's not the worst thing in the world, because people will still going to play that game despite it having that art appeal. But it's just releasing around so many different games, upcoming games, existing games, that I feel like it's just going to get swamped and, shadowed by those games that are probably going to just be in general better to play. Blue Protocol, now known as Star Resonance, announces global launch on the 9th of October. I'll be honest here, I actually did not even know they were going to announce the global release for this game. So the last thing I mentioned in the previous video that I uploaded for this one here has been something that didn't age that well. Because again, I didn't know that they were going to announce a global release for the game, because they announced a release for their CN version. I just had no idea. But a release of this game is very nice, because I will be playing this game until Duet Night Abyss comes out. So I'm honestly very excited. But that's it. Thank you for watching. That's all the news for today. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video. I'm going to go play the new Mar Rivals update, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.